Adam Fitzgerald and Dylan Carone are two singer-songwriter performers who came together in 2015 to form a band named Shady Groves. Adam typically plays bass. Dylan typically plays auxiliary acoustics, and they usually collaborate with a variety of other artists, including Colton Karen and Jemmy Hazeman. This month, they will be releasing their second full-length album called Dreamboat. They've worked very hard and traveled across oceans to make this one happen. So me and Christy, wanted to check in to hear more about the new album, Dreamboat. Hello, Dylan. Hello, Adam. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
I'm doing these new intros. It felt very intimidating there, but I got it all out. So the first thing I wanted to ask you guys to kind of prove a point, but I think I might know the answer now, and maybe my point's not going to be, where are you both at right now? What city, what state?
I am in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
And I am in Traverse City, Michigan.
Okay. So you guys are a lot closer than you would normally be, or have been over like the last 6 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My first question is like, what is it like to do music, record, and make an album when most of the time you're not in the same place?
So we kind of have I'm pretty bad about like sitting down and writing a full song myself. So that's kind of how I just started collabing with Adam in the first place, is like I'll start to write something and I'll just send it to him, or I have always done that. And then he'll add to it, send it back to me. So we've kind of always written as if we've lived further away, even like when we lived in the same town, we've always just kind of like sent songs to each other and just like built it up like that. So the transition of like, even when he was across, the country, or not the country, the world rather, still just sending songs back and forth, giving ideas. So it's kind of just always been that kind of process. Just one of us will start writing something, and then the other one will add in a couple of things and then send it back. And it's just like this whole, some of them happen really quick. Some of them we're still working on, and it's been years. But yeah.
The reason I ask is because I've always thought of you guys as a Detroit band, and you've always been active in the scene here and stuff. But, I'd see you posting online, and it's like somebody's in the UK or somebody's in Ireland and somebody's getting married. And I was very surprised when not only I found out that you had put together a full second album, but, you were ready to release it. And upon listening to it, that everything was so different and just well written, and I was very impressed. So I was just thinking that it would be a difficult process, and I was very inspired by how well you take all those pieces and kind of put them together. What would you guys say, like, is there a theme or any, since the songs kind of sound very different, they're very distinct from each other, do you guys think that there's sort of an overall theme for this album, or kind of like what was the process behind making it in that sense?
Adam, you want to take that one?
Love to know what Dylan thinks the theme of Dreamboat is.
That's a good question. Because I always say, I've said this in the pod. I always say, like, when I start writing a song, I don't really know where I'm going with it. I start with a melody line, like without words, and I add in words that I like the sound of them, and that kind of just like, I guess, translates into the theme of the album. Is just, I guess, kind of just experimenting with sounds more. Not that we're going too crazy. We're not on Jemmy Hazeman level or anything, but just as far as adding in different instruments, or trying. I'm just trying to write different music, but still kind of keep the same general sound.
We're always pushing ourselves, definitely. And it's weird to like try and push yourself and try and find new sounds while also staying consistent to yourself and like, making something cohesive. Because to the point, he said, like, our good friend Jeff Yateman, Jemmy Hazeman, helped us produce and record this album. And he actually was in the band originally. Like, he was the drummer and he also sang. And so Dylan, Jeff, and I were all writing songs and recording everything and recording separately and together. And it was a lot of cooks in the kitchen, as people said. And it was great. It was lots of fun. And the first album was called Bitzer because of that. It was like Jeff found that it's like Australian slang for like a mutt, like instead of a bitch. They said,
Okay.
I think so. It's like, you know, every song was really, really different on that record. And that's always kind of been the MO, like Dylan was saying, is like always pushing ourselves forward and trying to find new sounds and write different songs. So we are trying to like find our niche while also trying to like have every song be totally different. And I think when Jeff left to focus on Jemmy Hazeman, that kind of gave us the opportunity to be like, to reassess the second album, because we already had some songs, and then it was like, well, his songs he's going to go and use now. So it's like we're back to the drawing board, and we had a full band at the time. So we were writing songs with the band, but always writing separately and emailing them. And then I moved to the UK, like right as we had started like recording properly the second album. So it was just a mess. It was like we started as, you know, 2 songwriters and then had 3 songwriters and became this band with other people in it, and then it kind of imploded. And now it's just Dylan and I again, and we had to kind of finish everything. Like I was saying, we'll do everything, do the vocals, do the guitars, and then I can do bass, he can do keys, I can do keys. Jeff will help us finish stuff, Colt will play keys. So it's kind of like trying to find that space. I feel like you had talked about theme. I feel like the theme for Dreamboat, someone else had asked me this. I feel like it's like, Dreamboat's like a joke to us in a way. Like I feel like everything about this band is like a joke in a way, because we don't even necessarily like our band name. Like Shady Grove is like an old folk song, which is like hilarious because everyone's like, oh, you guys are like an indie folk band. Like, that's my cat.
Cat.
Like you guys probably named yourselves after that folk song, right? And it's like, oh yeah, definitely on purpose. It's like,
I mean, why not, right?
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
Dylan, you said something really interesting to me, and Adam, I want to ask you. Dylan said that he writes the melodies and then puts words that sound like they go in there. I always think, as somebody who doesn't write any music, I think it's interesting to hear a process like that. You do a lot of the writing too. Is your process the same? Do you start from music? Do you start with words?
That's a good question. I feel like that's what makes this band viable and what keeps us going, is that we can push each other because we are so different. And like he was saying, he won't finish something, so he'll send it to me and then I'll have an idea. Likewise, he is so good at like fitting words and phrases and ideas and tying them together. I feel like I'm like totally different. I try to start songs a different way. Like maybe I'll have an idea on bass, or maybe I'll have like a certain guitar part that I'll start writing lyrics over. And I love that idea of putting words that sound like the, you know, melodies. Or I totally agree with Dylan on that one, like tying together. Like if the sound is making you feel an emotion, like go there, just like keep mining that, like dig that creatively, you know. And I think Dreamboat, I don't know what Dreamboat can be so many things, like especially in like a joking context. And like I kind of think of it as like, it's like these like lies we tell ourselves, or these like falsities in like life and love and heartbreak, or like these ideals that we look for in life, where like in like a, you know, a partner, a man or a woman or a husband or wife, like we're looking for this dream boat. And it's like, does that exist? Like it does and it doesn't. And like, you know, we were thinking, oh, like it could be like, because if we have a bunch of romantic songs, it could be about that. But then it's like, that's really just a dreamboat doesn't exist. So like there are a bunch of love songs in this record, but there's also like a couple like fucked up songs too, like Ceiling Fan and Endless. So
I love that. I love that you guys think about that. So mentioning songs, there's 2 singles that you guys are going to release on St. Patrick's Day, correct? It's Like You.
It's actually already out. We haven't been.
Oh, okay.
Like a lot.
You just decided to skip it forward?
Yeah. So the whole album is going to come out. We were thinking St. Patrick's Day. Now I think it's going to be April Fool's Day.
That was my next question. Why April Fool's Day? Because the whole thing is just a joke?
I guess.
At this point.
Cinco de Mayo. So I love the idea of like having some sort of like date that you're actually going to remember, not just like a random date. And like, of course, Fool's Day just fits us.
Okay, I actually really like that because I have a hard time remembering dates, and that would actually help me. So that's slightly genius.
I like it. Your words, not mine.
I love that. So what do you guys have planned next? I mean, I know the album's going to come out. This is releasing an album during COVID. I know you're going to be doing a lot of interviews and a lot of virtual stuff. Does this feel different for you guys?
I mean, yeah, just like as far as like not being able to play shows, which I feel like is a huge part of releasing an album, is playing your new music, which this album is so freaking old. Like we played a lot of these songs like towards, years ago. But yeah, just as far as the, being able to play shows for people, that's like the biggest, I think, difference. Is that kind of sucks, because that's like, in my opinion, the best part of being in a band. I hate recording. I really do. Interviews
Why?
are because we just.
That's an interesting point. Why? What do we hate about recording?
It's just like such a. You sit there, you literally sit there and like, at least how we do it, you sit there and you basically play the same song. Like, let's say I'm recording the guitar track, I will sit there and play the song like 8 to 10 times in a row, and we'll go and nitpick those times, and then same thing with vocals, and then we nitpick the vocals, and then everyone else records, but there's still something that someone finds that needs to be redone, so you're going back in and doing it, and then there's something that needs to be added, so it's just like, it's super tedious, and I'm just like a super lazy person.
We're the type of people where we like end up falling in love with like our shitty demos, or like we'll like have something a certain way, like he'll do something like a one take Tommy and then send it to me, and then I'll put some bass on it, and then like we'll add like a twinkly little synth, and we'll be like, I love it, but then like you have to redo it and record it properly, and then by the end of the process sometimes you're like, holy shit, have we like strangled the life out of this thing?
Yeah, especially with this album, just because it's like you said, what do we have now? Like, we already have a complete third album written with like extra song. We have probably enough for 4 albums at this point, but like we do like absolutely have a third album that's just like, I don't even want to think about the recording of that one yet, but like, I just want to get this second one out. But it's just been a long road, and partially a lot of it was just me getting into the studio, honestly, to record my parts, or like Adam moving across the to Scotland, and it just kind of he like recorded all his parts before he left. But then he came back and pretty much had to redo everything just because of, everyone else comes in and timings get, I don't know. It's just like something that everyone has to be very invested in.
Yeah.
And when you say you have a whole third album done, is that because you've been doing a lot of writing during this past year?
Since I moved away, I feel like we had been working on Dreamboat for so long. By the time we finally got into the studio, we were like already starting to like maybe think about what comes next. It's hard to like cut off like, okay, we're done with the track list for Dreamboat, like we're done with that. Like we have a bunch of B-sides from that era, but oh nice, we got the pets in the gang.
Hi
Marcus and Marcellus.
Hi Marcus, nice to meet you. What's your opinion of the album? Did you like it? Did you go?
Little Finn was a puppy when we first started recording this.
Yeah, he
went to stop.
Oh, I'm dying. Hello, doggy.
It's a lot. So like,
oh, well, you guys just made my night.
We're trying to like build like a full band, and like neither of us are like control freaks. We're very like go with the flow, show people. We kind of take ourselves too seriously in general, but then people grow up and life happens, and our one drummer formed another band. Sage Denham did drums on Quiet Wolf and Backflips and Pocket Knives. And those were our first 3 videos we released, like over the span of like, me moving to Scotland and us still being over there. We were able to finish a couple. So we released those, and we have a couple videos out for those, like a black and white film for Quiet Wolf, and then like kind of like a collage home movie video for Pocket Knives. So Sage played on those tracks, and then he formed another band, Final Boss Fight. Shout out to Sage. And then we had Jeff's friend, Shane, the Jemmy Hazeman and the Honey Riders drummer, come in and finish. Shane Fleischer, he finished drums on the other 7 tracks. And then in the middle of this, his good friend and our bass player, Jamie, decided he didn't really want to work on the album anymore, or not only that he didn't want to contribute a crucial bass part a sick bass part that he had written for the song Endless, which is the closing track, which was like our closing song at live shows for years.
Yeah.
So it was like never like anything like there's like we don't have like a lot of drama for like in behind the music.
I think what's really exciting about this album is two things. I think one, if you have been following the band the whole time, it'll be exciting to finally hear these songs put down, recorded the way that you wanted them to be, that kind of thing. And two, this is truly a collaboration of a lot of great artists. And that's like the really exciting part about working with a lot of people, and something I think is very specific to this area. And like, it's great to see that kind of collaboration. Because I've always been like with Hip in Detroit and stuff, we always think the more the merrier, like the more creative people, the better it is. So I think that's really exciting. And I think that comes off on the album.
Yeah, that's like the whole spirit with why we formed Shady Groves was like, we all write, we wanted kind of a platform for if we want to have solo projects. Like he had another band, Quiet Wolf, for a while, which is also the name of a single from this record. And I was playing in the UK as Quells, and I have a bunch of solo music for that, and I've been doing remixes and stuff. I actually want to tell you I have a new remix for, George and Jesse, like Satin Peaches and stuff. They have Bad Magnets, and I did a new remix for them as well.
Oh, you're going to have to send that over.
There's a lot of cool collaboration, with Shady Groves, and that's kind of why Underflow Records was like born from the same.
That was the last thing I was planning on asking you about. I wanted you to tell me a little bit about the record company, how it came together. It's very cool. I was looking through all your, all the people, the website. It was exciting.
I appreciate that. We're excited about it. It's grown fast. It kind of felt silly when we first launched in 2018 and like officially, and then we released these like Shady Grove singles. And then I moved to Scotland. It was kind of like, what's happening? I feel like the whole band was probably like, what the fuck, Adam? Like, if anything, I killed our momentum a little bit, but it's grown. And we had this amazing band from Prague called Golden Spine that got involved, and they have like this amazing like music of like Vedic mantra music, and they had like that guy Bill Callahan, Bonnie Prince Billy, people from Swans, like all these cool people on it. And then our friend and old bandmate Adam Laidlaw, AR Laidlaw, who's out in LA, he just played on this amazing EP for this band Coma Girls. That's sick. And then we released some of his old music. Jeff, Dylan, me, and then my friend Laidlaw, who's out in LA, we all used to be in this band called the Kodaks together. I don't know if you remember the Kodaks.
Yeah, I do.
Well, we were like almost like the house band that became like Whatever Fest back in the day.
Yeah. Oh God, Whatever Fest.
That was formed with myself and Dylan and Jeff.
I have a really vivid memory of one of the ones at the New Dodge. Having a really good time.
There's been a lot of them over the years, but way back at the very beginning, the Kodaks were a part of it. And it's that same type of attitude that started Whatever Fest that kind of transferred into Underflow Records, where it's like, stronger together. Yeah,
it seems like everybody's really supporting each other, which is the vibe I'm always looking for.
Yeah, exactly. We try to be supportive because it's like there's so much competition, and there's like so many people who are just like, there's a lot of ego in music. And, I feel like Dylan and I are really not about that. And I feel like that's why he and I work so well together, and we can work so hard on these songs and like rewrite all the lyrics and change the melodies and write lyrics together and write lyrics separately. And we have songs where it's like, he'll sing the whole thing and I'll sing back up, or I'll sing the whole thing and he'll sing back up, or I'll sing a verse, he'll sing a verse. We'll both sing the choruses together. Like, it's infinite possibilities. And I feel like we're always looking at it like, what can we do that's new? What can we do that feels like us, but is like still excites us? Like, we want to make music that we would listen to almost in a way that we wouldn't mind being on in the background at least.
I think more than on the background, but yes. Awesome. So we're very excited about the release. We'll be sharing all the links and stuff with you guys. I'm going to put the links for the singles that are already out in this post. I have one more very important question before we sign off. Did you meet the Loch Ness Monster?
I went looking for her a couple times. I think I might have seen, they say there's multiple. I mean, there are people who are don't send me down the conspiracy theory because
I'm going. No.
You know, I was obsessed with that as a little kid. And I like really was like, well, if this is happening, why are people not
Why are
talking
people
about it?
No idea that it I always thought it was like, oh, fucking Nessie, and I had no idea there's like scientists like going, because like the whole thing is like the UK, where it was like it's like two tectonic plates that crash together. So Loch Ness, the lake, is like literally like a ravine that's like miles long and miles deep, and it has all this sediment in it, so it's like black, so you can't see shit. So they do like, you know, thermal imaging to try and find Nessie or her tribe. And it was so funny because right before I moved to Scotland, I had gotten this book for one of my younger ESL English students, and I was like reading to her, and she was reading to me in English about like, you know, the Sasquatch and Loch Ness, and like this, it was like an anthropologist who's like really serious into this, and he's like, actually Sasquatch probably does exist, and they're called skunk apes, and they live in swamps and parts that you can't get to, and Loch Ness is actually probably this type of lizard. And I was like, what? Like, this is crazy. So,
This is the best answer I could have hoped for. This is wonderful.
Future ramblings, sorry, but
No, seriously, I was like just trying to make a joke, and that's awesome. Like, I love that you just told me about tectonic plates, and now I'm even more fascinated by this. So awesome. Well, thank you both for coming on the show and chatting with us and letting me pick your brains a little bit. Definitely, everybody click on the links and give them a listen. And when the world opens back up, I hope we do get to see you perform live, even if you've played the songs before. I still would like to see them again. And now it sounds like you're a lot closer, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be as much of a problem.
yeah. We just got to get our shit together, and we're excited to get this album out and start releasing new songs, hopefully a lot sooner and faster, because we have a lot written.
Creative juices are flowing. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you. It was
Awesome. You guys go check out the album right now. Don't click off. Go.